All right, and I'm gonna go ahead on and introduce Rowan uh, Rowan Mickelberg. I hope I said that correctly. Who
Yeah, you got it.
is the um, point of contact at Africa Answers, and he will take over and answer your questions that you have concerning the trip. So, Rowan, you can go ahead on and
Yeah,
take it, get started.
sure. I think most of you were probably in on the previous, on the first time we chatted, so you probably have a
No,
good idea.
so I'm sorry, Roman. So actually, the ones that are on now were
Okay.
not a part of the initial
Oh, I
recording.
see.
Yeah.
I see. So did you want to go briefly over what we're doing every day, or do you want to just answer questions, Michelle?
I say we go ahead on and answer questions. Any questions or concerns that
Sure.
anyone has?
Hmm.
Right now, Roland, is there any way you can put your video on? I can't see you.
Yeah, sure. Hold on a minute. There we go. You should be able to see me now.
Yes, I do. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So hi, Rowan. I got a quick question concerning just a little bit of the contract. From
Yeah.
what I can see, so I want to make payments. I want to make them timely, but at the same time, if I'm going to lose all my money as a my fault thing, I want to do the best that I can from my end. So
Yeah.
it does,
Your fault thing.
yeah, it doesn't seem like Africa. What's it? Africa Cares.
Africa answers. Yeah. We
Africa
care
Answers.
too. We care as well, but yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I'm
It
on the
doesn't seem
Zoom
like
now.
who's that? Oh, okay, KJ. So the question is that unforeseen things that come up, and I just had one specific question. It was
Yeah.
specific in my mind. You know, without the travel insurance, if anything comes up, once you have fully paid your money, if you don't have that travel insurance, you're just going to be out of luck because you guys can't give the money back, right?
Man, I love that question. That now you're getting down to the bottom of it all, huh? Quick question.
Oh yeah.
Yes, that's and I love that because there is so much misinformation and confusion with this stuff. So that's an awesome question, and let's knock that one out the park first. You're exactly 100% right. If you don't have insurance and it is at the 90-day or less mark, which is we typically ask for final payments within 90 days before you leave, right? Yes,
Right.
you're 100% correct. Once you've made your full payment, there is no refunds available for anything.
Okay.
So if anybody's concerned about anything as it applies to this, great question, because it's something, this is a lot of money that you're all spending. So if anybody has concerns about something like this, then I would really urge you to look into getting insurance of some form. Now, I will tell you, and obviously Michelle can go into bigger detail if she chooses, but most insurance companies, when it comes to travel, and we learned this the hard way through our wonderful COVID years, most insurance companies will not cover you for what they term for fear of travel, right?
Right.
So if for any reason you're just concerned about anything, you will find that almost everybody will not cover no insurance company will do that, right?
Right.
There is, however, one that will do that. We don't offer it, but maybe again Michelle can help on that. There is something, what they call, the acronym for it is called CFAR. CFAR means cover for any reason, right? Obviously the policy costs a whole lot more money, and they have a lot of restrictions and payouts and all this nasty stuff, but there is actually something out in the marketplace that does do that. We don't offer it. Well, we don't offer any insurance, but we don't endorse anything like that because we don't have any contracts with them, but there are some that do offer that. So if any of you are concerned about, for whatever reason that you might fear for travel, then it might be worth your while to look into something like that. And again, Michelle might be able to help you with that, or just research it yourself. Great question. Love the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's a follow-up question to that. So
Mhm.
once monies are paid out, let's say we can't make it for some reason,
Yes.
and Michelle is going to put on another trip sponsored by you guys the following year or something like that, would those funds be able to be transferred over to that new contract, or is still no go?
I think the short answer to that is probably not. Now, obviously, Michelle and I are partners in this business, as are we with our suppliers, what we call the suppliers. So let's say we're calling them the camps, the lodges, the hotels. So in situations like this, and this happened all the way through COVID, obviously we're trying to help the agents. We don't want to, we're trying to help people here. So in those situations, the only thing I'll say is, per our terms and conditions, no. However, if there is a way we can do it, we will, of course, try and help you. Meaning what we would do then is we'd contact all our connections in South Africa and say, hey, this gentleman's whatever reason, but I promise you he's going to book this in the future. The problem with that, though, and this is why it gets a little sticky here, is of course you have to be booking the same exact itinerary, but at a later date. And that's where it gets kind of iffy, because keep in mind now that if we say, well, we're going to go to a later date, then it has to be with exactly the same, because they're the ones that are going to be giving us the concessions. So I guess the short answer to that is no. You probably cannot do that, although we would certainly try to help you if we could. We're not in the business of making this as hard as possible, but on the other hand, we have to be realistic that it's unlikely.
Okay. So, and my one last question, Michelle has been so gracious and patient in dealing with me. I can tell you that much.
You're asking good questions. I love it.
So when it comes to flying in, once we get into our destination in country from the U.S., now I know Michelle explained that we had that 5 o'clock, no later than 5 o'clock pickup time, to catch the transportation provided to get to the hotel. If we came in later,
so excuse me, let me just correct you right there. As far as there wasn't a time limit with them. The flights, the international flights I was looking at, were for everyone to arrive around the same time for one pickup. So it wasn't being there before 5 o'clock.
Okay,
exactly.
for one pickup.
Perfect. Yes.
Because I initially was looking at a flight that would come in way later than other flights that were booked, and wanted to know, even if I came in by myself, would it be okay, or is it possible that I can just catch a cab, get there, or something on my own, and once I got to the hotel, my name would be on a register somewhere, and everything would be waiting on me?
So Michelle, we're talking about Cape Town here, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So yes.
Michelle, you're muted. Michelle, you're
sorry. Muted. Yes. The international flight from flying into Cape Town.
So the reason why Michelle is saying and she is correct here, we need to, in terms of what we are doing here, we need to, where possible, keep everybody moving together, because the way that this thing is priced is that we move en masse with one vehicle, one guide, and as you go. However, and again, you can liaise with Michelle on this, and we do have situations, and this does happen, where people are, let's say, for example, coming in on their Delta miles or some other mileage thing. You can do that. You can come in on your own, on that first night. I would suggest, though, that if anybody does do that, that's why I was asking where you're coming into, because Cape Town, honestly, is actually a very, very, I'm comfortable with you doing your own arrangements to the hotel, but I would, even in Cape Town, I would prefer if you did do that. In other words, if you came in on a separate flight, then, tell Michelle, and Michelle will liaise with me, and I'll give you a quote for your extra pickup, because I really feel like you probably would still want to get someone from our company, from our associates on the ground, to come pick you up at the airport. But yes, you can do that.
Okay, so just to be clear, Sarhas, if we can arrange another flight, we can do that.
Per us, yes, you can. I don't know what Michelle's situation is, but yes, with us, as long as we really don't, we'd prefer not to do that for the reasons mentioned, but absolutely, if it needs to be done, we can do that, yes. On
Okay.
arrival. Now, be careful though, because on your final night, be careful here, because on your final day, you need to make sure that if you are doing something like this, right, just make sure you consult with Michelle, because you need to make sure that on that final day, you're not leaving. We currently have it as the 17th of September, Michelle. That you're not leaving. If you choose to go on your own on the final day, just make sure that you speak to Michelle, because that is the important one. You don't want to leave Johannesburg too early in the afternoon, because most flights only get into Johannesburg in the early afternoon. So you need to get an evening flight on the final day.
Okay. And also, Michelle, the prices that you just quoted for the airlines in the last email that I saw, is that round trip or one way?
That was round trip. However,
Okay.
I was trying to give you all something to get an estimate of what um the connections were and everything, and as far as price wise for the international flight, I am looking into other airlines. So
Okay.
that is coming also.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Are there any other questions, concerns?
Michelle, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry I'm late.
That's fine.
But what I didn't hear the prices for the airline.
Oh,
You
okay.
quoted,
I sent those in an email prior
oh,
to, yeah. And those prices, again, like I said, there are estimates because air constantly changes. So the price
Exactly.
I quoted a couple of days ago will be different from once everyone agrees and says, yes, this is what we want to do, what the price will be.
And are the economy plus prices a round trip as well?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
they are.
And so, Michelle, as we said before, when I was talking to you, the longer we wait, the greater the odds are that the flights will go up, though, for those same seats, right?
Yes, yes and no. And again, like I said, but I'm still looking into other airlines, Qatar, and Turkish Airlines. So I will have something to you. I didn't hear back from most people with the prices that I sent out, so that was another reason.
Hi,
Okay.
Michelle. Is there a certain date you want to have the flight paid by? The date that you need this credit card authorization back from us?
So once we decide on, yes, we want to go with this airline, if I could get the credit card authorizations back within that same week, it would be great, because again, like I said, I need to do it all at one time to make sure I have everyone on the same flight.
You know, Michelle, I thought I'd sent you that before. Is that not true?
The credit card authorization, okay, so for the air portion of it, the credit card authorization that I sent is for my company. The initial one that you sent was for Africa Answers, for them to debit your payments towards the land portion, as well as when Rowan comes up with the local in destination flight costs.
So in other words, I'd go ahead and fill out this second one as well.
Correct. But
Okay.
you don't have to do that until once I have the prices, because you need to put how much you're authorizing.
Okay.
And Michelle, this is Beverly. I want to ask, when you sent us the prices, but we're going to wait to see what you get from Qatar and the other one, correct?
Correct. Yes. So
Okay.
Hi, Beth.
they may have better time connections
Right.
and better rates.
Okay, thank you.
Finally good to see your face.
Mm-hmm.
We'll chat over the weekend.
Hi, Michelle. This is Kevin.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Fine.
I was just wondering if it's can you use like Delta miles if you use Delta for your payment?
Yes, I'm sure you probably can.
Okay. We just settle that, figure that out, when after everybody's selected how they're going to travel or whatever.
Okay, so it'll be everyone. I'm trying to get everyone on the same airline to arrive around the same time.
Okay.
Understanding that we have some people coming from different locations, so I would have them um, flying in to arrive close to the same time.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, in general, you had mentioned that this was in the initial group that had Zoom before. How many people are in the group total that will be taking the trip?
Uh, uh,
Let
I
me
think
think
it's
now.
12.
Let me see. Let me just see what we have currently. Can't remember where we left this. Where did we leave this at? I'm not sure, Michelle. I guess I'm not actually 100% sure how many you're gonna do.
Yeah,
I guess we
I
don't
think
have
it was
final numbers yet.
12.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle,
Yes.
now you were all talking about the flights to arrive, but on the itinerary, there are other flights to go to different areas. Do you have any idea what that's the extra cost for us as well?
Yes. So initially I gave like a rough estimate of the total airfare, and then again that depends on where people are coming from, whether they decide to upgrade to business class and things like that. But it should roughly be around $2,300 for all the air.
Oh, for all the air.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So Michelle, I have a question about the business class and I guess what's the other?
Economy plus,
Economy.
economy plus.
Economy plus. Is there, do you guys recommend one over the other and what's the differences, like, as far as comfort level?
Well, naturally, if you go with economy plus, economy is going to be your regular normal domestic flight leg space. You go to premium economy, you go to business class, naturally you're going to get more room and things like that. The seats
Okay.
are going to be more spacious, comfortable for you.
So what do you choose?
That's your preference. I do have one person on here who, he wants to fly. He wants to fly business class or first class. So that's your preference and how much money you like to pay.
Okay.
Yeah, I can tell you this.
And you're going to
Economy,
give us the, I'm sorry.
I'm
You're going to
sorry.
give us a comparison with the economy and the
Yes.
business?
Price wise, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to see really some of the other things that it may or may not offer, I suggest you just go out to that airline site and or just Google economy, premium economy, economy plus, economy, and see what the differences are.
Okay.
Basically, it's like Michelle said, it's seat space. Some of the seats are a little bit wider in premium economy, and you have about 6 or 7 inches more leg room in premium economy. Those are two of the big things. Also, the seats recline a little bit more than regular economy. So you'll have that space difference. More comfortable sleeping because it is a long flight.
How long is the flight?
So For you, you will be leaving a part of the group leaving from Dulles here, so it would be a nonstop flight, which is around 18 hours.
Jesus.
Woo.
Little less than that. It's not quite that bad. It's not quite that bad. It's about. Don't terrify them now, Michelle. No, it's about 15 hours.
15, 18, what's the difference? I mean, it's, you know.
It's a lot of difference. 3 hours will kill you.
You know, I can, you know, having done the Australia flight, if we leave at night, you sleep through most of it, so it's really not as bad. But if we leave in the morning, I'm gonna have to take something. I'm gonna have to do something.
No,
We can get up, move around.
and yes, you can. You can get up and move around, but the flights that I was looking for, we would be traveling through the night to arrive the next day.
Yeah. So we sleep. So for those who are kind of haven't done that long flight, you sleep most of it. Or what you do is stay up all day the day before. That way you're exhausted. You sleep on the flight.
All right. Do we have
Also,
any other questions or anything?
yes. I don't know. Did you guys discuss vaccines?
Rowan?
There's no vaccination requirements for anything on your itinerary. I'm just trying to see where you're going. Hold on, give me a second. Just go to page 3.
Even
Yeah,
if there's not a national requirement, is there anything you know would
No,
suggest?
you're not even going into Zimbabwe, so you don't need. So the only question becomes, there's definitely no vaccine requirements here, but you are spending some time in what we call marginal malaria area. So, you know, when you're on the safari, and I emphasize marginal, it truly is marginal. So the question becomes, do you take a prophylaxis for that period of time that you're there? That is entirely a discretionary choice, not something you have to do or don't have to do. It's really up to you. And of course, we will tell you the bottom line is at the end of the day, it's your choice. And I guess if you're concerned, speak to your physician as to whether whether you want to do it. The downside for doing the malaria is the prophylaxis is that some people do get it does affect their dietary, their stomach. So it's up to you, but it is a marginal malaria area. But outside of that, no, there's nothing to be done. Obviously, common sense, and Michelle can expand on this, but common sense with any travel, right, is to keep yourself updated on your tetanus. And I would say, the conversation also about the hepatitis, whether you want to do that or don't want to do that, that's another one. But you would do that no matter where you go in the world. There's nothing specific to this. The one I will tell you about that does require here, because South Africa is a little funny about this one, is just make sure that you have at least, and I mean at least, 2 blank pages on your passports when you arrive. Okay, number one. Number two, make sure that you have at least 6 months on your passports when you arrive. Those are the 2 big things actually for South Africa. There's no visas for Americans, of course, but they are funny about that one. Just make sure both of those things are, that you've got space and they're not expiring.
So my doctor told me about the malaria. He said to get it a few days or maybe 2 weeks or a few weeks before
you 2 weeks before.
Before you fly out. I mean,
exactly.
to go on the trip completely.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if any of you if any of you have dietary issues, just mention that to your doctors, because there are many manufacturers of this stuff. So just make sure that if you have any concerns, like my wife does have issues with this sort of thing, so she is very particular about what she will and won't take. So just have this conversation. If you have a galvanized steel stomach, then who cares? But if you have something that is an issue, then just have that conversation. The other thing I wanted to tell you, which is a good one, Michelle, when we get closer to the time, we're still a long way away here, but if any of you are having birthdays, or if you're having any anniversaries you're celebrating, while there, please tell us, because especially in the safari lodges, they love to know about that sort of thing, and they'll always do something for you, and it's really fun. you know, whether that be a cake or a song or whatever it might be. But if any of you are, just tell Michelle and she will, you know, forward that on to us and we will tell them.
I think you have one last question. I think it's my last question. Concerning telephones, SIM cards, anything like that needed. You know, I know some phone plans cover it where, you know, anywhere in the world. But if you don't have that plan, what's needed for your phone to work?
Right. So that one obviously is dependent on your phone and your providers. I am with AT&T. AT&T has an international call plan. You just have to tell them when you arrive there. The other thing to remember is that all these, so if obviously, so the first conversation, if I was you guys, the first conversations with your providers, just see if they do have an international plan. Like I say, AT&T does. I know Verizon does because I used to have Verizon. So those two big ones do. If you're really trying to save money, or if you're planning to talk a lot, then definitely look at whether your cell phone can take a replaceable SIM card. And when you do that, also just make sure that you have the tool with you, because I have friends that come with me to South Africa all the time, and they actually carry a little tool that they can actually pull the American SIM card out. And then when you get into the arrivals hall, you'll see 2 or 3 local suppliers selling SIM cards, so you can use those. For people that are doing a lot of talking, I don't do much talking, so I don't even bother, but I can see, you know, if you're doing a lot of talking. Also keep in mind that all these lodges, all these hotels, all these everywhere, you will be able to access Wi-Fi. So obviously, if you also talk a lot, it would be worth your while to look at some sort of communication where you can work with Wi-Fi. South Africa and most of Africa actually loves the app called WhatsApp, WHATSAPP. We use it all the time with all our communications with all of Africa. I have a WhatsApp app and I just talk to them all the time. And that is a Wi-Fi linked thing, so it costs nothing. So easy.
Michelle, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Also, I think last time we went, I think one of my questions was as far as the adapters for your electronic or your electrical things that you need. I think there's a special adapter for the European connections.
Yeah, there is. You can buy them at the airport, or you can order them through Amazon. But yes, there is an adapter. The plugs in South Africa are round and are typically 3-prong or 2-prong. But just buy that adapter. It costs nothing, and just take that with you. Now, obviously, a lot of the hotels, well, everywhere you know, if you're in a jam, the hotels will almost certainly have something at the concierge. But I would rather that you guys just carry your own. Simple to do.
I can't remember, Michelle. It's been a while since I looked at the itinerary, but are meals on our own?
No, there are some meals that are included on the itinerary, and then we have free time where you can go off on your own, and then you pay for your meals then.
And what is the temperature usually like around that time of year?
The what? Sorry.
The temperature.
Temperatures. So you're going in the beginning of what is their spring, right? So the thing with all travel in Africa, because of the safari side to it, is we always suggest that you do take layers, meaning you can put clothes on, take clothes off according to, you know, the heat and the cool, because it does actually get chilly in the evenings. And when you're on the game drives in the evenings, the wind chill does pick up significantly. So you're going to go, if it was me, I would be carrying multiple layers, whether that be shorts, longs, and then also when I'm wearing long sleeve, and then underneath that there'd be a short sleeve, and I'd even carry something even warmer than that, because like I say, when you do the game drives, those vehicles do not have well, they might have a windshield, but they're open. So the wind, you know, when you drive in the wind, it actually gets kind of chilly in the mornings, early mornings, which is when you go on the game drive, and also in the evenings when you go on game drives, it gets kind of chilly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hezekiah, I see your mouth moving. Are you talking? You're muted.
Yeah, if you have no objections, I would love to have Rowan go over again the itinerary just so we can hear it again. Doesn't need to be anything long.
Rowan, if you have it, if you like to put it up on the screen, you can do that.
I don't have the ability to
Okay.
do, well, the only thing I have here, I can just go through it, it's fine. Just
Okay.
we'll go
All
through it
right.
briefly. So when you arrive in Cape Town, you will be met at the airport by our guest, what we call guest service representatives, and transferred to the hotel. The Table Bay Hotel that you're staying at for the, looks like you're staying there for 2 nights, is 3 nights, sorry, is actually on the water. I stay there every time I go to Cape Town. It's a big hotel, but it's 5-star, and the reason why I love it, even though it's on the water, it's actually set away from where it gets really busy. So you guys can get out and walk around and go and have dinner somewhere if you want, or just walk around. There's lots of places, lots of things to do, and it's all very, very safe because it's a very tourist-centric area. Then the next day you're going to go and do what we call a private half-day authentic. That is basically a somewhat shorter day spent going through Cape Town, the city of Cape Town. There's many stops along the way, and it includes going up to my favorite area of Cape Town, which is called Boerkaap, which is the old Cape Malay area. Just very, very colorful. And you know, I don't know how much any of you have learned about South Africa, but it is a melting pot of cultures. There might be, I would say, 5 or 6 primary cultures that have created the tapestry of Cape Town, and certainly the Boerkaap area is one of those areas that has sort of affected the way that things are done and the culture of the people. And even when you guys go on your tours in Cape Town, you honestly, just speaking to your guides will tell you a lot about the place. That the guides love to talk about things. That first day's tour actually includes going up Table Mountain. Now, Table Mountain does get windy in the afternoons, and it does have what they call a tabletop in the mornings, which is a covering of mist. So sometimes the guides, who obviously know a lot more about this, will plan your day according to the best time to go, because obviously everyone wants to go in the morning, but sometimes with that tablecloth, what they call the tablecloth, you cannot get up because the mist is obviously, they're not sending the cable cars aren't going up. The next day you're going out to the wine region. Michelle and I discussed this, and we actually have designed this specifically for your group. We're actually stopping and having lunch at a really, really good wine estate called Stockholde. It is a wonderful wine estate. But that whole area, even if you don't like wine, just going out to the wine region is just really, really a memorable experience. And for me, if you don't go out to the wine region, you haven't really explored what we call the Western Cape, because the Cape Town obviously is beautiful, the city, but without going out to the wine region, you haven't really seen, all the beauty of the areas around that. And then the next day you're flying up to Johannesburg. That's one of the 3 regional flights that we're going to have to book for you. When you get to Johannesburg, we're again going to have someone meet you in the arrivals hall, and you're going to drive out to what is called Sandton Sun, which is another hotel out in the leafy neighborhoods of Sandton. And it looks like you're going to be there for 3 days, between the 11th and the 14th. And the hotel there also is what we call bed and breakfast base. So in other words, you got your meal, your breakfast is included, and then you're on your own for your dinners and your lunches as needed. The next day, you're going to go to Soweto. Soweto, for those that don't know, Soweto is an acronym. It actually means Southwest Township. Southwest Township was a township developed during the apartheid period, where segregation, if you want to call it that, where blacks were staying during the time that, and then working in the white areas, and then they had to go back to these areas. Now, of course, in the new South Africa, which was about 25 years ago, people still live there. It is a massive. It's like its own zip code. It is a massive town, almost a city within a city, because that's where people have grown up for generations, and that's where they're from. So you still go and see it, but there's obviously no apartheid anymore. But you will certainly they will certainly tell you all about the experience. And keep in mind that the history of this area is very contemporary. It's very, very new. So a lot of the stories will be told firsthand by the people that actually lived through apartheid. On the 13th is a leisure day, which is, I believe, is our shopping day for you guys. So you're going to be shopping or just relaxing around your hotel. And then the next day, which is the 14th of September, we drive you back to the airport. So that drive it just depends on the traffic, but that drive is less than an hour. Might be a little more depending on the traffic, but it's not too far. And then you got a relatively short flight, less than about an hour's flight from there to a little regional airport called Hoedspruit. And Hoedspruit is the gateway, one of the gateway airports to the big safari areas of South Africa. And you guys are going out to, when you arrive at the airport, it's a small little airport. I mean, if any of you have been out to, the Caribbean islands, it's the same. It's not smaller. It's the same sort of vibe. You'll be the only plane landing for hours. So everyone that's there is waiting for you. But when you get off, your game guide will meet you then at that point. Now, the game guide is actually from the lodge, and the lodge that you guys are staying at is called Shaduli, and Shaduli Private Game Lodge, which is, again, less than an hour from the airport. So it's all very, very straightforward. Shaduli is part of the Korongwe lodge area, and Korongwe is a private game reserve, access only to the likes of you who have paid to be there. It's not open to the public, so it offers exceptional game viewing. Very good chance, because you guys are actually there for 3 nights, so there's a very good chance that you'll see the much talked about Big Five. So that's the lion, the leopard, the elephant, the buffalo, and the rhino. Korongwe has all of that, but it's also a very, very luxurious place and a lovely place for you just to relax in between your game drives. And keep in mind now, they do evening game drives too. So you're going to do a morning game drive and an evening game drive. And the morning game drive normally they'll do a coffee stop along the way. And the evening game drives, they will normally carry a nice little sundowner for you guys, so that, you can actually get out the vehicle and have a sundowner on watching the beautiful African sunsets. And you're there for 3 nights. So 3 nights is typically 6 game drives, because it's the arrival game drive and then 2 game drives a day thereafter. And if any of you want to go for a walk, all you have to do is just speak to your game guide, and he will arrange that for you. Obviously, walks are done with somebody with a big bad gun, but it's not typically, I mean, they're not in the business of making this dangerous, so they obviously will ensure that it's safe for you. But if you want to go for a walk, that would be the time to do it. Just ask them. And then at the end of that, which is the final day, the 17th, again, we spoke about this earlier, but you'll have the morning game drive, have your breakfast, and then you'll check out, and then go back to Hoedspruit for your flight back home. So it's a very concise, compact itinerary, and I think honestly Michelle's done a great job trying to keep this all together, because you really are hitting the high spots for South Africa. I mean, you guys are pretty much doing everything that when we talk about doing South Africa properly, you're doing it. So you're bang on with the itinerary, and that's it.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for doing that, Roland.
Pleasure.
I have one last question. Are there any, I guess, safety concerns with respect to, walking around shopping or walking around sightseeing?
As long as, so obviously, as I mentioned, in Cape Town, one has to be sensible. I'm not saying that it's open season, but the reason why we love that area where Table Bay is that it is really well policed. It is really all tourist driven. There's nothing untoward about the area, and that's why we love booking it. And Johannesburg's the same. Obviously, be sensible. It's a city, like every city. Just be sensible, but but the area that you're going to be in again is a very, very nice area, very much geared towards tourism. So yeah, you should be fine.
Okay.
I also have a question. Someone was, I was talking to a friend about the trip, and they mentioned something about Victoria Falls or something. Are we anywhere near that?
No, you're not going to Victoria Falls is not in South Africa. That's the adjoining country.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna have to sign off a little bit. I have a 2 o'clock meeting that I need to prep for. So Michelle, I'll be getting or whatever, or should I wait until you get some additional numbers for air flights?
Let me send out the additional information, and I will try and have that out by Monday to everyone for
Okay,
before you send it in. Yes.
okay, great. Thank you so much. Sorry to back off real quickly, guys, but still working over here on the West Coast. So have a great one. Nice meeting you
Thank
all.
you for
Thank you.
joining in.
All right. Take care.
All right, bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Michelle, I had a quick question. I didn't hear exactly what Wanda was talking about, but did you get my email regarding the airfare?
As far as you asking about the different classes, the price for the different classes, yes, I did. So you didn't hear the part that I was saying that I'm also looking into Qatar and Turkish Airlines to see what they have to offer and whether the connection times and things like that will be good. So that's
So
what I'm going to send out additional airfare, because like I said, I sent that out to give people an idea of what the cost would be that they're working with, because once I get the okay from everyone, I need to book it all at the same time to make sure everyone's on the same flight.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any other
And so
questions?
Michelle,
Oh,
I just not a question. Oh yeah, maybe it is a question. Yes, it is a question. When you send out the additional information, just if you would just put a reminder that you would like to hear back from us at a certain time, just so we know these are the final, I guess, options that we have to look at before we make that commitment. Because I know you said you would like to hear back in a week, once you put the stuff out. I want to make sure we've got everything before we say, yes, we're going.
right.
I mean, we're going, but I mean, yes, which way we want to go.
Okay, definitely will.
Thank you. I'm going. I don't know about the rest of them. I don't care what you tell me. I'm going.
Okay. So we have any other questions or comments from anyone? All right, if not, like I said, I did record this, so I will send this out as well for people who came in late, those who weren't able to make it on today, so they will have the information. So if we don't have any other further questions, thank you so much, Rowan, for taking the time
Pleasure.
to answer our questions.
My pleasure. Have a great day, guys. Have a great weekend. And Michelle, any questions, just shoot me an email. You know where to reach me.
All right. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you both.
Michelle.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.